Good afternoon, I'm Charles Lejano. This is One News Now. The Health Department is urging the public to resort to alternative means of merrymaking this holiday season. To give us details, Greg Gregorio is joining us live from Mandaluyong City. Greg, what specifically are these recommendations from officials?
Charles, after discouraging the use of firecrackers this holiday season, the Health Department is now asking the public to do away with torotots. During the virtual launch of the DOH's Iwas Papatok campaign earlier today, Health Undersecretary Mirna Cabotaje explained that the use of torotots or horns for merrymaking could spread COVID-19, as saliva is transferred to the mouthpiece, then emitted through these devices. As an alternative, the health agency suggests the use of other noise-making instruments, such as tambourines, drums, car horns, kitchen pots, or even piggy banks. The DOH has time and again discouraged households from using firecrackers to achieve zero casualties this year. However, it says local governments may still stage community fireworks displays as long as minimum health standards will be followed. For its part, the Trade Department reminded the public to only purchase fireworks from licensed manufacturers. Charles, the Philippine National Police said their local police and regional surveillance unit will also campaign for the use of safe alternatives in welcoming the new year. Charles?
Thanks for that, Greg. That was Greg Gregorio reporting live from Mandaluyong. An expert says the country should keep its transmission rate low to avoid a surge in COVID-19 cases after the holidays. UP Octa Research Fellow Father Nicanor Austriaco tells 1PH's Wagpo that an uptick in cases is expected in all COVID-hit countries. He said Manila should keep its transmission rate to under 1%, which currently stands at 0.93. Meanwhile, Octa team member Guido David responded to Baguio Mayor Benjamin Magalong, who earlier scored the researchers for publishing a report that apparently scared tourists away. The group earlier identified Baguio City as among 4 LGUs with the highest risk of spike in cases.
We do send the reports to IATF. And generally naman, wala naman sinasabi yung IATF namin to not to present the data to the public.
Magalong earlier told Sa Totoo Lang that the Octa team should not have reported their findings directly to the media.
Kasi yung Octa is basing on data lang. Pero hindi nila nakikita kung ano yung mga ginagawa ng ating local government.
The Senate will summon Transportation Secretary Arthur Tugade to answer for what it calls the lamentable experience of motorists in the implementation of the RFID toll system. In a statement, Senator Grace Poe said the system was ill-studied. The Senate will also look into the 500 peso minimum load requirement of some toll operators. Meanwhile, NLEX Corporation has vowed to come up with clear and concrete solutions to the RFID issue within the day. This comes after Valenzuela City Mayor Rex Gatchalian postponed their meeting, supposedly slated for today. One senator flags what he calls a questionable increase in the DPWH budget after both chambers of Congress ratified the spending bill. Some lawmakers also raised logistics concerns as the country prepares for vaccine procurement. But fret not, says Malacanang, as the spending plan will undergo thorough review once it reaches President Duterte. Camille Samonte with the story.
The Senate ratified the BICAM report on the 4.5 trillion national budget for 2021 on Wednesday night. Lone dissenter Senator Panfilo Lacson has cited the questionable increase in the budget of the Public Works Department. He says that from 2011 to 2018, the average unused appropriations of the DPWH were at 81.9 billion. Lacson has earlier recommended that the 6 billion pesos of the agency's war chest be realigned to the country's pandemic and typhoon response.
What is the logic in further increasing the budget of the agency in 2021, considering the challenges brought about by the pandemic?
This leads the senator to insinuate if the 28.3 billion peso net increase will be used as an election campaign fund. In defense of the DPWH, Senate Finance Committee Chair Sonny Angara says several factors have affected the agency's utilization rate. Public Works Secretary Mark Villar refused to comment on this, saying the budget is a legislative matter. During the hearing, several lawmakers also raised concerns about the dream COVID-19 vaccine rollout in 2021. Senator Ralph Recto notes that apart from the shots, the government should also prepare for the logistics and storage requirements as well as the training of those who will facilitate the inoculation.
There is no plan. So whatever is in the 2021 budget, kumbaga, hula-hula lang.
The Finance Committee's 51.5 billion peso estimates for vaccine procurement has yet to cover the cost of other items needed, apart from the shots themselves. For its part, Malacanang says it will hasten the review of the bicam-approved spending plan once it reaches President Duterte's table. For News 5, Camille Samonte, we are One News.
We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. A DENR official draws the ire of senators over what seems to be a dismissive remark on the importance of protecting the Marikina Watershed. Mean Los Baños tells us more.
A fuming Senator Cynthia Villar chided the Environment Department over a remark of one of its officials on protecting the Marikina Watershed. Mines and Geosciences Bureau Director Wilfredo Moncano drew the ire of the senator when he said that the flooding brought by Typhoon Ulysses wouldn't be stopped even with the absence of urban developments and quarrying activities.
Even if the entire Marikina Watershed is planted with 10-year-old mature trees, it will still require 9 times that area to absorb the water that was poured during Typhoon Ulysses.
This came as a dismissive remark to Villar and other senators.
Na-shock na naman ako sa inyong department kasi parang sinasabi nyo na pabayaan na lang kasi hindi kaya pag typhoon yung kasing strong ng Typhoon Ulysses. I cannot accept that.
Pita naman natin yung enforcement natin. Mismo kayo nagsabi na non-compliant yung pagkarami-rami ng mga quarrying, mining, logging activities. So yung enforcement man lang, kitang-kita naman ang ebidensya, kalbong-kalbo na ang Sierra Madre kahit protected zone.
setting up to fail dun sa pagprotekta ng watershed.
The senators also asked about the quarrying and mineral exploration being conducted in protected areas. They discussed the Masungi Reserve in Rizal, which is a part of the Upper Marikina Watershed. A representative from the Upper Marikina River Basin Landscape said quarry groups were given permits way back 1980s. But it was only in 2011 that the area was declared a protected landscape. For his part, Environment Secretary Roy Simatu said the agency has already suspended the mineral production sharing agreement of several quarry groups in Rizal last December 2. However, he admitted that some groups have not stopped operations.
Yes.
Yung mga barbed wire nila doon.
The local government of Rizal has once again appealed to DENR to ensure the stoppage of quarrying in their area for fear that the residents will suffer the consequences. Reporting for News 5, Mean Los Baños, we are One News.
The Philippine Air Force gets a facelift, courtesy of new choppers from Poland. Billions worth of helicopters are part of the country's efforts to be at par with its ASEAN peers when it comes to defense capability. Patricia Mangune gives us details.
The Philippine Air Force has received brand new choppers worth more than 12 billion pesos from Poland. Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana led the blessing of the 6 Black Hawk utility combat helicopters as part of the Armed Forces Modernization Program. The official himself joined the flight demonstration. The new equipment, according to Lorenzana, is more powerful than the Bell and Huey helicopters currently being used by the AFP.
Kasi yung ating mga Hueys ay luma na, mga kampayan eh. Vietnam vintage pa yung mga yan, although na-upgrade nila now and then, but it's still Vietnam vintage.
The Black Hawks, which can carry up to 15 individuals, will be used not just for combat missions, but also for disaster response. The DND boasts the chopper safety sensors that will guide the pilot when flying over mountains and rough terrain.
Ang daming differences na makikita nyo na makakatulong sa safety nung liparan natin. Most especially lalo na sa Pilipinas na madaming volcanoes, disasters.
The Defense Department is eyeing to procure more Black Hawks in the future on top of the 10 more units that will arrive in 2021.
We have some still funds remaining to procure helicopters sa ibang companies. But sabi niya, mas maganda na yung pareho para yung maintenance, yung pilot hindi na mag-aaral, saka yung supplies, yung spare parts, pare-pareho lang, mas madaling i-maintain.
AFP Chief General Gilbert Gapay has earlier said that the military is looking into signing another big-ticket deal involving the multi-role fighter jets before the end of President Duterte's term in 2022. The continuing effort to modernize the military comes amid the continued aggression of China in its discredited claims in the West Philippine Sea.
Patuloy, 24/7 ang ating maritime and aerial patrols sa West Philippine Sea. We're able to monitor, na-improve natin yung ating maritime domain awareness capability. So, and we have established an effective military presence.
The AFP has also held joint exercises among its Army, Navy, and Air Force units to enhance operational readiness capability. For News 5, Patricia Mangune, we are One News.
For more updates, visit News 5, the Philippine Star, and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. And you can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. We are One News.
check. 5. East, check. 6, check.